Hi guys, Aceface back with another video for you, and this is the second part in my Tau Codex review. I hope you enjoyed the first one. There'll be a link down below so you can jump on there and check that out, and there'll also, in the coming videos, there'll be links for all the videos if you just want to skip to different sections. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the troops section of this codex. It's quite an easy section to cover, won't take me very long, so this will relatively be a fairly short video, but hopefully it will be of use to you. So skipping through to the troop section, as I am pretty badly prepared here guys, bear with me. Let's have a look. Right, okay, so let's start off with the simple stuff. Start off with the old strike team, which used to be your standard fire warriors, so they've changed them slightly. Now the big change that they've made is that now they've split the fire warriors into two different types of unit, which I will cover in a minute. But your fire warrior strike team is exactly the same as your old fire warrior team was. Your fire warrior team now consists of a unit of 5 as its base, so there's a slight change there, which is interesting. It's more standard, I suppose, so some people might not like it, but you know, I suppose 5 that works with me. I quite like that. And you can take an additional 7 fire warriors on top of that to make it up, so that pretty much stays the same. Some little interesting touches, as you'll see on that picture. You now can take like a support gun placement, which is called a DS8 tactical support turret. On that you can have either missile pods or smart missile systems, so that's pretty nice. Other than that, they pretty much stay exactly the same as you would have remembered them. So a little bit of tweaking with the size of the units and the extras they can take. Still Devilfish as their dedicated troop transport. Still everything else more or less the same. Support and fire, yada yada yada. That's kind of them. So now let's go on to the new unit, which is these guys, the Breacher team. Now, the Breacher team fill a slightly different role. They're the same amount of points and you get the same amount of troops in them. The Breacher team also can have the turrets, but the Breacher team come with a slightly different weapon. They come with a weapon called a pulse blaster. Now let's scan through and let's have a look at what a pulse blaster does. So a pulse blaster, and this is the interesting thing, this is quite a nice flavour for it. The pulse blaster for a start is much more of an up close and personal weapon, which is very interesting for Tau because it's a new flavour that Tau not really had so much. But up close weaponry is not really a thing. But the pulse blaster is almost like a bit of a shotgun, I suppose, and it has 3 different separate profiles depending on how far the target away is. So if it's up to 5 inches, it's strength 6 AP3, so that's awesome because it's 2 shots, so that's a real marine killer. So if you can get them close up, they're going to really pack a punch. With that strength 6 AP3, that's awesome. Especially if you had a big unit, that's going to be able to do some horrendous damage, but that's very, very close. The next profile is 5 to 10 inches, so still very, very close, and that is strength 5 AP5. So, you know, sort of standard. Then you're more or less in the same realms of their standard pulse carbines. So, you know, that's where it starts to get a bit iffy. And then if it's 10 to 15 inches, it's strength 4 AP dash. They'll all stay at assault 2, but that's kind of what happens with it. So an interesting one. Not too sure at the moment what I think of them. I like the fluff. I actually quite like the way that they look. I think they look pretty cool. They got a nice sort of flavour to them, without a doubt. They also have something called a field amplifier relay. So let's just have a little look what that does. Let's have a look. So here we go. So the field amplifier relay, a model with the field amplifier relay that is in a unit that includes a Guardian drone, has a 5+ invon save. So obviously these guys are able to take what's called a Guardian drone, which basically will then give them a 5+ invon. So I suppose that makes them slightly more resilient, but a 5+ save is nothing particularly powerful. So not too sure what I think about that. If there was a way of us getting them up close and piling out of their transports or whatever it might be, they could definitely do a lot of damage at a relatively cheap price for a unit. So there's potential there, but I'm not sure at the moment how that would work in our style, I suppose. Right, so moving on to the last troop choice, which is the old Kroot. Now, a lot of people wanted a buff to the Kroot. They wanted them to get a bit better. They have stayed exactly the same. They're no different at all. So they're still 60 points. You can get a Shaper, a Krootox Rider and a Krootox Hound, so that hasn't really changed. They've got all their same special rules. They're no different at all, to be fair. But you know, I really like Kroot. For me, if you know me as my beloved Tyrannid player, then you'll know how I use Gene Stealers. And for me, Kroot very much do that. Kroot are great chuff unit to stick on an objective, and hopefully if you've managed to place that objective and you can get it in like woods, then even better, because these guys are pretty hard to move. Now they're more likely to run their Gene Stealer because obviously their leadership's not that great, but they can still do a bit of shooting. They'll sit on an objective. Your enemy's got to shoot at them, which is wasting their fire when it means they're not shooting at something that's powerful. So I really like Kroot. I love the way they look, actually. I think they're a really cool looking unit. It'd be better if they were a little bit more powerful, but ultimately at 60 points I don't think you can go wrong with an infiltrating unit of 10. So that's the Kroot. Now that is it for your troops. So did get one additional unit in the breaches, but that is about it. So I won't cover the Devilfish now, because as you will see later, that actually goes somewhere else in the book. But that's Troop's choice, so not a lot of change. Chuck the Breacher squad in there for a bit of flavour. Probably not something you'll see very much. I still think Fire Warriors in a gun line are incredibly effective, particularly with buffs from additional models close by. But I think Kroot for me are the ones that do it, because I like that style of being able to be quite advanced on the battlefield, take objectives. It kind of works for me. So they're the two solid units. I think the Breachers, I can't see a place, but if you think you do know somewhere where they'd be really useful, I'd love to know. So please do put it down below. And as always, please do like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Next we will cover the elites. See you again.